And today we're going to talk about business relationships and just relationships in general, and how to kind of like from the book that Dale Carnegie wrote in the series and tapes that back then that he came out with called Winning Friends and Influencing People. This is where I learn a lot of the stuff that I teach on here, guys. This is good stuff. This is not all my ideas. This is stuff that's come from people from over a long time of research in human nature, human emotion, because we're all basically human. So today we're going to talk a little bit about icebreakers and the fact that if you're introducing yourself in a business relationship to somebody you want to do a partnership with, if you're talking about a new customer, prospect, whatever the case may be, a girlfriend, a boyfriend potential kind of thing, if you're in the dating scene, anybody you meet in public, okay? The whole goal here is to learn common ground, okay? Find that common ground and find it as fast as you can by making observations, okay? And this observation could be based on the sound of the person's voice. If it's a phone call, if they sound like an older gentleman, then you can relate to older things. And I'll give you an example. One of the roofing clients that I work with and one of the roofing businesses that I serve, he calls me I call him I forget how it happened, but either way, we connect with each other for one of the first times. And this is an older guy. He needed to put his hearing aids in before he could have a conversation with me because he couldn't hear very well. He was probably 80-something years old, had a girlfriend, good for him. Sounded much younger than him too, so he did pretty well on that end. But the bottom line is that I started off the phrase just kind of randomly, and this doesn't work all the time, and this is very unconventional the way that I do it compared to the way most guys teach it in the professionalism way, but the whole goal is to relate and find common ground as soon as possible. So remember that before I tell you all this. Told him, his name was Wayne, I said, Mr. Wayne, and I always say Mr. before we start a conversation, because if it's somebody's older than me or somebody's a doctor or anything having to do with a PhD or an MD or whatever, I will address them by their salutation, the correct salutation, even if it's Mr. or doctor or professor or whatever, and then their first name. Okay, that makes it personable at first. Okay, I said, Mr. Wayne, I said, my grandmother had a saying because she was raised during the Depression era, and born in 1916. And all of a sudden, we're starting to relate right away. First words out of my mouth. And I said, she had a saying that came out of World War II, and I don't know if you're familiar with it. It goes something like this: use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. And I said, I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase before. I said, but I'm going to tell you this. Our culture is completely away from that because we live in the Amazon culture where we just replace things, and I don't agree with that. So I basically made a statement about culture and humanity, as well as relating to something that would be somewhat relational to his lifetime, going back to time frame that was relevant to him when he was a younger man. Okay, do you see what I did there? That's exactly how I transitioned him into working together with him. Okay, he needed help anyway, so he probably wasn't going to turn me away no matter what I said. But in that case, I found common ground. I realized what his age was, realized if he's wearing hearing aids, he probably has been through some wars or whatever, probably going to relate to what I'm saying. Okay, does that make sense? All right. And kind of in the relationship world, if I'm meeting a new business partner, I'll give you another good example. This week, I met with a guy that was an older guy, and it turns out that he was a cannabis consumer. He told me over the phone when we had our initial conversation and consultation that he was a cannabis consumer. And I'm not going to give you my mindset on what I think about cannabis or cannabis laws, and especially as it relates to here in Texas and that kind of thing. But if you want to ask me about that personally, you can always DM me. But basically, this is very unconventional again. But I turned around and the next conversation we had, I answered the phone and I said, "Hey man, Dave's not here." Kind of in the Cheech and Chong voice, like in Tommy Chong's voice. "Hey man, Dave's not here," like I'm stoned, And that's a famous movie from one of the, I think it's Up in Smoke, or one of the Cheech and Chong movies that is all about cannabis. It's all about marijuana and that kind of stuff in that culture. Not because I was condoning or condemning marijuana. It was that it was relational to a movie that I know he probably saw in theaters back in the 70s when Cheech and Chong were all the rage in their younger days, okay? Nothing to do with, drug use or anything like that. Just being relational to him, okay? And, he responded right away, hey, man, yeah, you're right, man, Dave's not here, And, I mean, we hit it off right away. We had a common ground, all right? So the way I make friends in 51 seconds or less is that I engage with them in something that's relational to them to find common ground within the first 50 seconds of the conversation, okay? And that's why I always say in this new book that I'm coming out with soon, called Business from the Heart, about using emotional intelligence, and what Chris Voss, who wrote Never Split the Difference, called tactical emotional intelligence, or tactical empathy. It's basically, to go back to the point of finding that common ground and making a friend fast, okay? We're talking about making a friend, kind of like failing fast so you can get to success. We're trying to make friends fast, okay? And that's one thing that I like, people seem to like about me, is that I'm personable, but I'm also relatable. That's the reason why I'm personable. I try to find common ground at every opportunity so we can find a relationship factor, regardless of what level they are, regardless if they're like a hippie pothead or regardless if they're a business CEO. I am approaching them at their level. That's one thing they call me a lot of times. I'm the grease man, kind of like Ocean's 11 back in the days of, I guess, early 2000s, maybe 2003 or so. Ocean's 11 came out. The Amazing Chin, he's the one that got the whole bank heist done, or casino heist done in that instance. He was small, he was a little small Asian guy, but also that he was very flexible and was very adaptable to any situation, and being acrobatic as well didn't hurt in getting the job done. He was a grease man. He provided the lubrication to be able to make things happen. Okay, so that's the thing is, you can find common ground, slow things down, like I taught the other day, smooth things out. Okay. Talk with your midnight radio DJ voice. And I was listening to a TED Talk the other day by Chris Voss, who wrote the book that I was so inspired by, called Never Split the Difference. And he was a former FBI hostage negotiator, negotiated with some of the top world terrorists and hostage takers and big bank heists and all kinds of different stuff. And he told a story about, kind of a joking story, but it was a real story about 4 hostage negotiators walk into a bar. It sounds like the beginning of a joke. And he basically said, I try to sit down at the actual bar with some guys, or next to a guy, the only bar chair that was left. And the guy looks at him and says, hey, don't even think about it. Like, don't sit there. He's being really threatening. And he said, why do you think that's a bad idea? Like, why can't I sit here? This chair's open. And I guess the guy was probably leaving the chair open for some hot dish around the corner. I don't know. But basically, the guy replied to him, because I'll beat your butt. I won't use the word that he used on there, but I'll beat your A. I'll beat your tail. I'll kick your butt. And he said, by the way, my name's Chris. And he said the reason why I introduced myself to him like that is that when you're in a hostage negotiation situation, when the hostage taker, when the criminal, the terrorist, takes hostages, if he knows the name of those hostages, if he just knows their name, it becomes personal to him. And this is all human nature stuff. You can look all this up. This has all been scientifically proven. Okay? And more times out of not in a hostage-taking situation, if the hostage taker knows the name of his hostages, they won't die. Okay? They won't be killed. All right? Because it's a human effect in all of us. We are all essentially human. Even psychopaths have human nature and human behavior built into their hardwiring, the way that Yahweh made all of us when all this was created. We are just wired this way. There's a lot of commonalities in every human interaction. And I love meeting new people and influencing new people and that kind of stuff and what I do, regardless of what industry I'm working in, because the whole idea is that I get to study it and practice it every day. And it's kind of like if you're a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse or anybody like that, they call it a medical practice that you're in. And the reason is because you're practicing daily, your art, your skill set, whatever. That's what I invite you to do with human nature and human emotion and human intelligence and human empathy. It's something that Chris Voss calls tactical empathy, okay? Because in his book, Never Split the Difference, the whole concept behind Never Splitting the Difference is the fact that, it doesn't make sense in negotiating, and it's not a book about sales, it's just a book about human nature and tactical empathy. It can be used really well in sales and business relationships, but bottom line is, once you understand the basics of human nature and what all makes us human, the commonalities that we all share as human beings with our emotions and with how to elicit and modify those emotions, manage those emotions of other people, slow things down, calm things down, get on the same playing field, find common ground. There's kind of the theme of that this video here. You begin to be able to practice it over and over again and kind of rinse and repeat what works. And I do some, like I said, very unconventional things to get people's attention and to be a pattern interrupt, as we call it in sales and marketing a lot, a pattern interrupt, okay? And that's basically throwing something at them that they didn't expect, okay? It's not a bad thing. It's kind of a surprise, but it's a pleasant surprise most of the time when it comes from me, okay? I don't come out and set a bad impression. I set the best impression that I can with something that's relational to that person, okay? That is just the way that I do it. All right, so that's everybody's kind of thing. But back to Never Split the Difference. Great book. Recommended. The audiobook's free online, I think, kind of like my audiobooks are. And his whole concept is, I can't split the difference if it's a hostage negotiation and there's 4 hostages. There's 1 hostage taker. If I split the difference, he'll kill the other 2. I can't. I got to get all 4 back. I got to get them safe and back to their families. There's no splitting the difference. And if you ever negotiated with me, you'll know that I am a very, very, very intelligent negotiator, okay? And I've learned how to do that by some of the best negotiators I've found. Remember this, okay? When it relates to human relationships and breaking the ice, okay? You do not get what you deserve in life. You do not get what you need or what you want in life. You get what you negotiate for, okay? You get what you negotiate for. And that is in any human relationship, any business deal, anything like that. You deserve what you negotiate for. That is what you walk away from the table from. And we want everybody to be a win-win situation as much as we can, so everybody walks away from that proverbial table a success, happy, feeling like they won, okay? All right, I've talked on here for enough. My son's texting me as he wants me to take him to the gun show this morning, and we're going to go roll to that next. So blessings to you all. Have a fantastic day in the outdoors or indoors, wherever you are. Heck, I'll throw some plugs in here. Businesswithdustin.com, Working Enterprises. My business digital agency is blowing up right now, okay? Having a lot of fun meeting new people with tactical empathy. All right, businesswithdustin.com, if you're going to check that out. I even hired a new developer that I met online, broke the ice with, there's a programmer that's helping me with even making that website better and all my other websites better. Also, DustinsProjects.com, my creator hub, books, TV shows, podcasts, whatever you want to listen to, watch, read, or listen to. I've done pretty much everything in the production side of it as well as the writing side of it. I'm working on a new book with my stepdad called Madeline Butterfly. It will be out probably in the next couple of months once I get the production done, after I get the production on 3 other projects that are book projects done before that. So if you have a book, idea, whatever, hit me up. Last thing, if you're interested in my books on Amazon, you can listen to them free on audiobook form, read by an awesome AI-generated voice text-to-speech. They're on my YouTube channel. It's easy to find. Just type in my name to Google, and then find the audiobook playlist and have fun. And then, or if you want to order any on Amazon, if you have a Kindle, or if you want to get a paperback or whatever, it's dustinsbooks.com. Hey, you guys rock. I want you to have a great day. I want you to get out there and kick butt and enjoy breaking the ice and learning more about human empathy and human emotion. God bless you all, and Yeshua will be with you, and have an awesome day out there. Rock on. We'll see you next time.